All right. We are live. Welcome back, everyone. J Bone here for Smash This Podcast. Catching up on some MLW. Did not review it last week. So we're doing kind of a twofer. We're picking out some highlights from 49 and 50. We're going to talk about them. Oh, man. I. The more I'm seeing these intimidation games tapings from Chicago, damn, they really, really tore the house down in Chicago, which makes me wonder if these tapings keep going like this, what the hell's it going to be by the time it hits Milwaukee? Jeez Louise. They talk about starting a riot in Chi-Town. They did. They literally did. I have not seen a crowd reaction like this to certain things that are going on in the ring, and or have seen wrestlers get this kind of reaction out of a crowd. They really went all out in this one. They went absolutely nuts. Let's talk about some of this stuff. And there's a lot of little factions popping up in MLW, which is exciting too. It's kind of brings it a breath of fresh air from what I've been reporting on with them over the course of the last year or so. It really does. It's exciting. It's fresh. It's I don't know how else to describe it as, but it really is it really is a different chapter in MLW. So some of the stuff that happened last week that I didn't get to talk about. This new Contra unit, and they had a special little segment on it this week, which it's just all of them talking to the camera about what they're gonna do and who they are and what they're about. So they finally have their voices heard. And that was cool to see because so far it's just been violence, 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 riot, violence, which is fine. But at some point, you want to hear from them. And it was simple, it was short, it was sweet. But what they did last week against two guys in the ring, it was supposed to be a it was supposed to be a tag match. But these two individuals across from them, it's like the match never even started. They never even had a chance. They never even had a chance. They just absolutely decimated them in the ring. And then after the EMTs were being brought out to help one of them out of the ring, another guy got a fireball to the face, which is the fact that this Joseph, I still want to call him the Sheik, because that's what I've known him as, for several years. Not like I'm an expert on him or anything, but I've seen him around. But his name in here is Joseph Samael, and he does a classic fireball thing, which hasn't been seen in a long time. I can't remember the last time I've seen it in wrestling, ECW or the Attitude Era or whatever, Terry Funk days. What's up, Faustino? How you doing? Always happy to hear your MLW reviews. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Um, it's a growing, exciting brand, and they're really doing some different things that are edgy to really stand out. They really are. Um, as the one guy was getting stretchered out, uh, Jacob Fatu, this guy, the more I'm seeing about Jacob Fatu, um, he is going to be one to keep your eye on in 2019. He really is. Um, and I'll get to another video that I saw about him this past week that really put the exclamation point on what he's going to be doing this year in wrestling in the indie scene, or maybe even bigger stages down the road. Um, he does a senton off the top rope through the guy because they had him up on the stretcher ready to carry him out, and Fatu just does a senton, boom, or it's crazy, just goes right through him, and the EMT guys fall backwards, and they're on opposite corners of the ring, and they're just like, their reaction was priceless. Samael then grabs a water that was on the side of the ring or in the ring or whatever, and starts whipping water at the crowd, which then gets the crowd so riled up that they start chucking stuff at Fatu and Samael, and I guess it was just the two. I thought it was the three guys, but I don't think it was. It was just the two in the ring. They start throwing stuff at these guys in the ring: bottles, garbage, cups, everything. And I'm surprised they didn't start like throwing chairs at them in the ring, for crying out loud. But the ring was just full of garbage. That was absolutely nuts. And I love that they're getting this kind of reaction out of the crowd wherever they're going. It makes me want to go back and watch some of the stuff that I skipped over while I was taking my little break and I wasn't watching a lot of wrestling. The Philly tapings. I believe that's where Jacob Fatu got his debut. And I certainly want to see some other stuff. I believe I have a match or two in my YouTube, what do you call that, watch later list. AAW out of Chi-Town just had a show, and remember the old manager Estrada used to manage Umaga, the Samoan bulldozer? Apparently, he's getting back into wrestling. And he, at least in AAW, not sure where else, like I said, if this is happening, this deserves to be on a bigger stage. I'm not saying all the way up to WWE, but this deserves to be seen because this is classic and it honors Umaga, who is a tremendous wrestler, and there needs to be more guys like Estrada uh in wrestling. There's so few good managers nowadays, and AAW just put out a video that Estrada brought out Fatu and managed him for the match against, I don't know who it was, but I was like, wow. And gosh, Estrada was so much fun to watch. So I don't know if MLW is going to bring in Estrada and have him manage fought, like, not saying like right now, because right now these guys are a force, something to be reckoned with by themselves. They're all doing their own part between between Gotch, Samael, and Fatu. But somewhere down the road, maybe they'll bring in Estrada to manage Fatu. That would be tremendous because if you look at him, he looks just like his uncle Umaga. He really does. Um, his cousin Lance Anoa'i is also going to be in New York, New Jersey area this next week for one of the special events going on. I think he's gonna be part of the battle riot. Wouldn't that be crazy if they put these two guys together and they make some kind of like Samoan tag team? Like the classic Alpha and what's his name? Siki? I believe that's what their names were back in the day. Maybe Estrada can be the hand pulling the strings. Yeah, maybe. But Contra feels more dangerous, whereas Estrada is a little more comical. You know what I mean? I'd have to go back and like see exactly what he did with Umaga, but I always kind of considered him kind of like not Jimmy Hart. Who am I thinking of? Someone kind of like Slick back in the day, you know, that kind of persona. Like you want to take him serious, but he's got a comical side to him too, where you just kind of chuckle, you know, but you know whoever he brings in is gonna be dangerous. I don't know. Just my thoughts on that. We'll see where it goes. But I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out for Estrada and seeing if he pops up anywhere else with Fatu because I love the combination. Absolutely love it. But back to this now. Contra is wreaking havoc. And it looks like next week, Samael is going to be going up one of the nights. It's the night that's not the battle riot night. It's oh, I can't think of what the other night is called. Something Renegades, something, I don't know. But it's going to be Ace Romero versus Joseph Samael. So really looking forward to that. I know they've been constantly putting up matches for this, and I haven't been keeping track of them, but they got a pretty good card set for next week. I wish, and I know they're going to be taped for the shows, but I wish I wish some of it would be live on YouTube. That'd be tremendous. You know, even an hour of it, you know, that'd be great. But something else I'm going to be doing over the course of this week is someone on Twitter put up a nice little graphic and it lists all the different shows that are going on next week from what, Tuesday to Sunday or Wednesday to Sunday, whatever it is. And there's so many. And I'm going to be compiling a list of stuff that I want to watch, you know, like maybe one or two of them a day. I'll pick a couple stuff that I want to watch and or possibly review on here. And I'll be, by the end of the week, I'll give that list out and I'll talk about it a little bit and maybe we'll get some predictions here and there soon. So we'll see. You know, there's some of the bigger ones. Like I'm definitely going to be watching United We Stand. I might watch the G1 special. I just saw the card. The card looks a lot like a lot of fun. I just haven't been keeping track of them, but I should. You know, I'd like to watch it to. You know, stuff like that should be watched. And then there's like a handful of others that I saw that kind of caught my eye. I can't think of them off the top of my head. But anyways, back to this. We also had last week the MLW Tag Team Championships. They had Richard Holiday along with MJF going up against the Hart Foundation, Davey Boy Smith, and Teddy Hart with Brian Pillman Jr. at ringside. And this was a good match. I can't remember anything specifically from the match that stood out. Um, but I'm really liking this. At the time when I was watching this, I was liking the combo of Holiday and MJF because um, someone like Holiday, he looks like a star, but I think he's still kind of green. I don't know a lot about him, but if you put him with a guy like MJF, MJF is incredibly talented. So that right there is a good combo, and Holiday can learn from him and such. But then what happens after this is what's significant. The Hart Foundation wins. They retain their stuff. But then um, Alexander Hammerstone comes out and attacks the Hart Foundation after their win. And thus starts, like I said, another one of these newer groups that's come together, the stable called the Dynasty. So it's MJF, who basically looks like he's running this, which is pretty cool. MJF, Holiday, and Hammerstone. Hammerstone being the muscle, but man, Hammerstone, he just looks like a star in this brand. They are really going to be doing stuff with him. Um, and and this is one I've been waiting to see get a little more notice. But really excited about that. He also did good things in Ring Warriors, which is where I first saw him. But you know, till that comes back, I'm glad I can enjoy him on MLW and as a part of this group now. So it's cool. It's cool. There aren't enough. That's one thing that this show was always good at over the course of this last year in its comeback. That while I've been covering it was a lot of singles competitions were great, but there weren't a lot of groups. So this was good. This is nice to see that we got some influx of new stables coming in because we haven't seen stuff like or groups or guys like Callahan in a while. He's been more with Impact Wrestling, of course, or doing his own thing across the indies. So the fact that and Fulton's now also there, it'll be interesting to see if Impact picks up the other guy that was with Callahan's stable in MLW. I want to say it's Leon White, I think it was his name. Don't quote me on that. It was a bald guy and something. But so that's how 49 ended. There was also a match between Io de LA Park and Puma King. Puma King came out with a win on that one, and that was fun. And that also kind of sprung the the feud with Mance Warner. And this is a guy who you can tell he's starting to get a buzz. You see it on social media. People are starting to talk about him, share stuff about him, and I really know nothing about him. But my first impression of him is listening to him talk and seeing him fight in the ring or fight outside of the ring in this case. In this next match we're going to talk about for episode 50 is if you take Stone Cold Steve Austin, Dusty Rhodes, and maybe sprinkle in a little funk and sprinkle in a little Briscoes. It's one hell of an orgy. It's kind of, I don't know, that's kind of scary. You have Mance Warner. I see a little bit of, all those in there. Man, does he like his light beer? He really does. It's the crowd was chanting "I poke God." Something. Like I said, I'm still learning about this guy. Entertaining, very entertaining. Certainly funny too. But let's get into this episode number 50. Starts out with a match between Gringo Loco, local favorite in Chi-Town there, versus Myron Reed. Myron Reed looks like he's defending Rich Swann's actions, and they keep talking about this once in a while, is, he attacked a ref and then also attacked Bacchini. Can't think of the guy's name. Doing commentary with Cornette. I think it's Bacchini. And Myron Reed comes out with duct tape across his mouth that says "Free Swann," because Swann is now suspended. And he's a heel, which is so weird, but hey, that's all right. It's something different. You're seeing a twist on a character which is usually so bright and charismatic, and now he's getting sassy and ornery, So great match between Gringo Loco and Myron Reed. I know when I first saw Gringo Loco, I was like, oh, I don't know about this guy. But the last few matches I've seen him in, he's really impressed me. I mean, he's doing lucha libre stuff, but he's real stocky. He's not your typical skinny, zipping around the ring high flyer. So, when he hits you with a certain move, it's like, oh, God, it's not as smooth as watching someone like Myron Reed or Ace Austin just zip around all over the place. But Gringo Loco comes out with a win here to the crowd's enjoyment. We then see the Dynasty again come out to the ring, MJF and Holiday with Alexander Hammerstone versus Brian Pillman Jr., who is by himself because Teddy Hart is in jail or was arrested because MJF set him up or something. This whole backstage segment that happened at the start of the show was pretty comical. It had an old school like Attitude Era feel to it, like the cops were going to take him away or something, and Davey Boy Smith Jr. is like, all right, well, I got to go down there and I got to bail him out. And Brian Pillman Jr. was like, no, freaking out. It was crazy all over the place. It was funny. I liked it. But Pillman Jr. is in the ring with Alexander Hammerstone. Great match. Hammerstone comes out with a win here, and then they just destroy Brian Pillman Jr. They take the chains that he got from Teddy Hart that he was wearing so proudly to the ring, and they just busted him up and just threw him at him. So yeah, this is going to be a building rivalry here. I think it's going to lead to more MJF versus Teddy Hart, because MJF wants that title back. And I'm sure they want the tag belts too. So, hey, we could see the Dynasty just running wild the rest of this year if they start, snatching up that gold. Ostino says Gringo Loco is super dope, dude, in person too. Met him in Miami. Cool. That's always nice to hear when you start to latch on to people as a fan. You see them in the ring, and then you're a little intimidated to meet them because you don't know what they're going to be like. And it's nice when you hear positive things back from fans, like, "Hey, I met him. Great guy, great girl, whoever." So that's really nice to see. And then we get this death match with Mance Warner, who I was just talking about earlier, versus LA Park. This was just a train wreck of a match. Nothing too insanely tremendous to speak of here. A lot of broken tables, broken chairs. At one point, there was like a door in the ring on some chairs, and Mance was put on it. And LA Park did a senton through it. He is such a big guy. And he does some of these topes through the ring or over the ring or ring ropes. And just some of these things he does is just man, it's like a locomotive coming at you. It's another one of those big guys that does some of these high flying moves that's you just like you wouldn't think he does, but he does. And but Mance Warner puts up one hell of a fight. I'm sure he's going to be having a few brewskis after this one to take care of some bruises. Funny spot in the match. Mance Warner at one point is getting whipped by LA Park. LA Park took off part of his ring wear, and he's just whipping him. And then they start whipping him back and forth. But before this, Mance starts almost like she's like shaking in the ring, smiling. His eyes are getting all big, like, "Please, sir, may I have some more?" It's like he enjoys being whipped, and I'm not going to overthink that because that's just really kind of scary and goofy. But a decent match between these two. I think I think a couple fans got a few chairs upside the head. It's like I said, some crazy stuff went down in Chi-Town between this episode and the last one with the riot and the Contra and everything. It's just wow. Two very fun episodes, all leading into stuff for this coming week. So I can't wait to see what comes next as I'm, getting back into watching this on a regular basis. A lot of new faces, a lot of new stables. Yeah, the rest of this year is going to be nuts for this brand. And it's nice to see that they're really starting to draw some crowds. So yeah, just wanted to make this one short and sweet. I got to go make some dinner, and then I might be doing some podcasting later tonight. I got to double check my messages. Somebody slid into my DMs, and so we're gonna get out of here. We might be back later tonight. Might watch some Raw. We'll see, depending on what happens when. But nonetheless, we'll be back soon. You guys take care. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to smash that like button and smash that sub button and ring that bell for notifications so that you know when more of my content hits your screen. See you soon.